The mitzvah of hafrashat challah has a she'ur. A she'ur means there's a quantity, there's a necessary quantity of dough in order to do the mitzvah min haTorah. When the Torah says take a little bit of dough from the large amount of dough that you've prepared for baking, well, that large amount of dough has to be of a certain amount. And the way we measure the dough is by weight. And that the weight kind of starts from 1 kilo. If you have 1 kilo, and there are those who say 1 kilo 0.050, which is pretty close to a little more than 1 kilo. If you have 1 kilo, then you have to start getting nervous. Below 1 kilo, if you have a dough that is less than a kilo in weight, then you don't have to worry about hafrashat challah. But there are very few doughs that are so small. And so a dough that is more than 1 kilo you have to have hafrashat challah misafek. There's some doubt, but we do it. What we don't do is we don't make a bracha. If there's only 1 kilo, we don't make a bracha. But if you have more than 1 kilo, exactly 1.66 kilos, then you do make a bracha. Now this number is, of course, like all the sheyurim that we keep, is in dispute between what's called the sheyurim of Yerushalayim and the Chazon Ish. The sheyurim of Yerushalayim are represented by Rav Chaim Noeh, who wrote a very important sefer on sheyurim, but he says 1.66. That's the amount that you need in order to be mafrish or separate this truma min haTorah, and therefore you make a bracha, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. But the Chazon Ish had this idea that all the sheyurim had to be kind of increased, and he says 2.250. 2.250. So those who hold by the sheyurim of the Chazon Ish would not make a bracha until you reach the size of 2.250. On the other hand, you have to understand that the lower bound is a kilo. Anything more than a kilo, you have to do hafrashat truma. In this case, challah. Above 1.6, according to Rav Chaim Noeh, or 2.250, according to the Chazon Ish, you have to take truma with a bracha. If you make a dough and your intention is to cook it, like to throw it into water or to fry it, then you don't have to. The mitzvah of challah does not apply to that dough. In other words, you only do challah when the dough that you make is going to be baked, in an oven, and then you understand that the process is you have to know the weight, you have to separate the challah, and then you have to make a bracha. Or make the bracha and you separate the challah.